Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is July 3rd, 2024, and Sevilla are interested in signing Ilaix Moriba. Also, Barcelona have been offered the chance to sign a World Cup winner. And finally, Hull City have confirmed Barcelona's interest in Jaden Philogene. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where not only do I get to share the news with you, but I also get to interact with you, lovely people, in the chat section by reading your comments out loud, answering your questions, and getting the discussion going. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, don't worry, I'll be leaving timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion. Now, having said all of that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kickback. If you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you hit the Bet Us. Both links for kickback and Bet Us are down below in the description. Now, let's begin with special coverage of the Copa America because, ladies and gentlemen, the quarterfinals, just like the Euros, is set. And we have two Barcelona players in the Copa America. This is how I'll make this full because it's covering a little bit. But this is how the quarterfinal bracket is looking like. Tomorrow, Argentina will kick off the quarterfinals against Ecuador. We also have Venezuela playing against Canada. Brazil versus Uruguay. Uruguay. And then finally, Colombia versus Panama. So two Barcelona players in the quarterfinals. First is Araujo's Uruguay, which is going to be playing against Rafinha's Brazil. Of course, Uruguay played their last match against the USA. They won 1-0. Really great match, by the way. I thought the US got one goal canceled unfairly. VAR said it was offside, but I've seen a lot of posts where they did the lines correctly, and it doesn't seem like that goal was offside. But really great game between Uruguay and USA. Uruguay are officially in the quarterfinals, so Ronald Araujo officially in the quarterfinals. And then finally, Brazil yesterday. They drew against Colombia. Rafinha scored one hell of a goal from free kick. Really, really great match. Really well-fought match. And Brazil, once again, leaving a little bit of doubts. Brazil are always favorite to win any tournament they're in. Not this time around, and not a very impressive performance by Brazil. And another clown performance by Vinicius Jr. People used to say, oh, La Liga are racist. People in La Liga are racist. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of racists in La Liga, but it turns out it's not a problem of La Liga because Vinicius Jr. has been just as much of a clown in the Copa America as he is usually with Real Madrid. And by the way, he got his second yellow card, so he's not going to be available for that Uruguay match. We'll see how they're able to play without him. But just know that Rafinha and Ronald Araujo are both in the quarterfinals of the Copa America. Now, one more bit of news because we do have to talk about Unai Hernandez, the academy player, the center midfielder in the academy, someone who's showing a lot of potential. And as I told you in a previous video, Hansi Flick has decided to call him up to the preseason. Flick, he did a lot of research over the academy when he was getting ready for the job. He studied a lot of the lower teams, including the Barca Athletic. He visited the training of Barca Athletic. He met with Rafa Marquez and with Deco to discuss potential players that could be promoted. He's promoting Marc Bernal. And we now know that Unai Hernandez is also going to be called up to the preseason. And the new news is that Barcelona were hoping to renew the contract of Unai Hernandez, but it seems that the player is not ready to renew yet until after the preseason because he has a lot of interest from clubs in First Division. So he wants to go to the preseason. He wants to see how he does. He wants to see whether he has a chance at earning a spot on the first team. And based on that, he'll decide whether he wants to renew with Barcelona or maybe try his luck somewhere else. All right, that is all the intro news, if you want to call it that. Let's do some comments, and then we will talk about Ilaix Moriba and Sevilla's interest in him. All right, let's see. Brian says first. Thank you, my friend, for being first. Unati says, South Africa in the building. Love your content, bro. Now it's 1 a.m. and I'm supposed to sleep, but your content is exciting. I'm very thankful for you, my friend, for not only leaving a comment and watching the live stream, but for staying up. Hopefully you can get some sleep pretty soon. Bakari says, hi, Mo. Bakari from Kenya. I'm Barca fan. That's awesome. Welcome to the live stream, and thank you for your comment. Barian says, hey, Mo, hope you're good, brother. It's been a minute since I last caught a live, but I'm back, and I guess we're all just waiting for the here we go on Nico, right? Thanks for everything, bro. Thank you for rejoining the live stream. I hope you can join us for more live streams. Yes, we are waiting for the Nico confirmation. Of course, nothing's going to happen while the Euros are going on. Nico's focused on the Euros. Spain are in the quarterfinals. They're going to be facing off against Germany. And once the Euros are over, or once the Spain is knocked out, I'm sure that's when we'll see more movement. All right, let's see. Jay Ramos says, not soccer related, but can I see your arm tattoos? Sure, I actually just got some more work done. I've only got the done on the inner part of my arm. I still have to get the shading and the coloring. This is like what is, well, I have the face tracking in my camera, so it's going to be very hard to show you. This is pretty much it. You can see some of it. It's hard with the face tracking on because as I move, the camera moves with me to follow my face. Yeah. And then this is all the interior work that I literally got done on the day I was flying back to Vegas. Not a good idea. I do not recommend to get a tattoo on the same day you have to fly because you're in pain. Your skin is inflamed. But anyways, I'll still got to finish the interior of my arm. I still got to shade it and color it. All right, let's see. Sherkute says, Jaden Philogene's move to Barca looks now complicated and unlikely as he's giving priority to Premier League move. Understand 3 clubs have sent proposals, Crystal Palace and I can never say that club, but I know they were recently promoted. Ipswich Town, I think that's how you say it. We'll talk about it in a little bit. So I'll tell you. Kelly says, hey, Mo, watching you from Zambia, and it's, midnight. Well, 41 minutes past midnight. It says, here, I stayed up late just for me to watch your live. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining the live. Thank you for your comment, and thank you for staying up. Hopefully, we can finish this up pretty quick so you can go back to bed. All right, let's do more news. Let's talk about Ilaix Moriba because it's reported that Sevilla are interested in signing the player. Now, the 21-year-old center midfielder is someone who came up through the Barcelona academy. He was showing a lot of promise. Barcelona had a plan for him in order to develop him. Unfortunately, he was too impatient and decided that Barcelona's plan was going to take too long, and therefore he left Barcelona to join RB Leipzig, where it did not work out for him. So as a result, he was sent out to loan to Valencia. Then he was sent out to loan to Getafe. So it has not worked out really well for Ilaix Moriba. And now it's being reported that Sevilla are very interested in him and they're looking to sign him this summer. We know that Sevilla have a new coach now. It's Garcia Pimienta. It's the former Barca Athletic coach that was here in Barcelona. He was the coach in Barcelona, I think, for 20 years. Someone who I hope to see one day at the first team. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. He ended up leaving. He coached Las Palmas last season in First Division. Now he's going to be Sevilla's coach. And it looks like he wants Sevilla to sign Ilaix Moriba because Garcia Pimienta knows Ilaix Moriba from his time at Barcelona. Now you might say, why do we care that Sevilla want to sign Ilaix Moriba? Well, for 2 reasons. The number one reason is that Barcelona still retain 10% of the rights of the player. So if RB Leipzig sell Ilaix Moriba to Sevilla, Barcelona would make 10% of that sale. Now, that's going to be a little bit complicated because it seems that Ilaix Moriba is asking RB Leipzig to release him for free, so pretty much to cancel out his contract and let him go. If that happens, Barcelona don't get the 10%. But if an official transfer happens and Sevilla pay Leipzig money, then Barcelona would get 10%. So that's the first reason why we care that Sevilla want Ilaix Moriba. The second reason why we care that Sevilla want Ilaix Moriba is that Ilaix Moriba is a very close friend of Ansu Fati. Now, we know that Barcelona do not count on Ansu Fati. They want to offload him this summer. We know that Sevilla are also interested in Ansu Fati. And in fact, Ansu Fati's father would prefer that Ansu go to Sevilla because, if I'm not mistaken, that's where Ansu started when he was very young. He started at Sevilla Academy. Also, Ansu Fati's father has a house in Sevilla. So now that Ilaix Moriba is going to Sevilla, who's a very close friend of Ansu Fati, now that Garcia Pimienta is going to be their coach, who also coached Ansu Fati when he was younger, then the links between Ansu Fati and Sevilla is only going to get strengthened, and we're only going to be talking more and more about this. Now, we know that Ansu prefers a team that's more high caliber, a team that can perhaps compete in the Champions League, but his options are running out. There aren't many clubs out there who are after Ansu. We know that Barcelona don't want Ansu, so there is a good chance that he could end up in Sevilla with his really close friend, Ilaix Moriba. We'll see if Sevilla can afford it because Ansu Fati does have a pretty high salary, which Sevilla I don't think can afford it right now. They're in a financial crisis. But just know that Sevilla are after Ilaix, so Barcelona could potentially make 10% off that sale. And this also goes towards the possibility of Sevilla signing Ansu Fati. All right, let's get back to the comment section, and then we will talk about the World Cup winner that has been offered to Barcelona. All right, let's see. Some random MF says, anything on Nico Williams? I saw that he has an agreement on Twitter. Is it true or is it just false news? They're saying he has a verbal agreement. Look, there is no agreement between Barcelona and the player. The player wants to come to Barcelona. That's very, very clear. Nico Williams has informed Barcelona through his agent that he wants to come to Barcelona, but that they have to sign him, before the preseason. And also, even though he wants to come to Barcelona, Nico's not looking to force his way out. So if Barcelona want to sign Nico, they're gonna have to go sign, pay the release clause, which is 58 million euros, and then Nico is our player. Otherwise, he's not gonna force his way out. He's not gonna say, I only want to go to Barca, because he's very loyal to Athletic Club de Bilbao. That's where he started his career. That's where his brother plays. I think his parents work at the club as well. So he's not gonna do that to his club. So it's very clear that Nico wants to come to Barcelona. It's clear that Barcelona want him. But if Barcelona want to sign him, they have to pay his release clause. There's no way around it. All right, let's see. Fibsy says, yo, Mo, did you catch the Mkhitaryan Penaldo news from the BBC? All over the news here in Europe. Kind of funny to mention. Check it out. Check it off stream if you haven't seen it. I did see the headline. I didn't read the article, but I did see that the BBC called the miss by Penaldo in the match against, who were they playing against? Was it Slovenia? Yeah, Slovenia. They called it Mkhitaryan Penaldo, which I thought it was hilarious because it shuts up all the Penaldo fans on social media. Carlos Vega says, hey Mo, hope you're staying clear of the heat. It's over 110 here in Arizona. Just curious, from our top prospects and first team players, who is Flick watching closer and who are you hoping will impress most? Yes, it's pretty hot. It's actually, I'm now looking at it, it's 110 as well. Here in Vegas, I know it's going to be even hotter over the weekend. It's going to be 115. So I've been staying inside all day. I only go out when it's at night. But as far as Flick, who's he watching closer? I don't think there's any reports about Flick watching someone closer. Flick is starting from scratch. He wants to see everybody in the preseason, the first team players, the players who were on loan, players from the academy. He wants to see everybody. And based on that, he's going to decide who's the best, who's not, who's going to start, who's going to be a sub, who needs to leave. So yeah, as far as maybe if there's a little bit of closer look at, I would say Marc Bernal. I think Hansi Flick is definitely interested in seeing Marc Bernal. He wants to see Noah Darvic in the preseason. As far as the first team players, we know Flick really, really counts on the untouchables like Coarsi, Araujo, Pedri, Gavi. But as far as like whom he might prefer or not, again, that's all going to depend on the preseason. He's starting from scratch. He wants to see everybody, and based on that, he's gonna make up his mind. All right, Lamine says, big up Mo, watching from Grenada. All right, I follow you since day one, and keep it up. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And MSJ says, hi Mo, great to be here again because it's always amazing watching you do what you do best. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for your comment and for being here watching the live stream. Let's see. Javier says, hey, Mo, are you going to watch El Clásico in New York? Probably not. And I'll tell you why. Because those matches are incredibly expensive. It's stupid expensive. I think they're charging like $1,000 for a ticket. At those prices, it's honestly, and I'm not even exaggerating, it's honestly cheaper to fly to Barcelona and watch El Clásico at the Camp Nou than go here and during the summer when it's hot as hell at a stadium that's not a football stadium, that's an American football stadium. So the pitch is going to be absolutely trash, like we've seen all throughout the Copa America. And on top of that, it's a preseason match, so it doesn't even matter. So I would rather spend my money to go to Barcelona and actually watch a match there than waste my money on a preseason match here. But anyways. All right, let's see. Tyler says, "What's up, Mo? This is my first live podcast. I'm glad I could finally make it. You're my favorite Barca news channel. I like to listen to you while I'm at work. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, my friend, for watching, and thank you for choosing me as your favorite Barca channel. I'm glad I can make your work hours go a little bit faster. I know work sometimes can drag on, but thank you. And let's see. Let's get back to the news, and then we'll do more comments. But let's talk about the World Cup winner that Barcelona have been offered the chance to sign, and it's no other than Leandro Paredes. Now, we know that Barcelona are looking to reinforce the midfield, more specifically the center midfield position. And as such, there's been a lot of players that have offered themselves to Barcelona. Barcelona are considering a myriad of players. We know Hansi Flick's favorite option is Joshua Kimmich. We know that Deco's favorite option is Onana. Both options are most likely not going to happen, with the option B to those players being Mikel Merino from Real Sociedad. But now one more name has been added to the pot, and it is Leandro Paredes, the 30-year-old center midfielder who currently plays at Roma. You know, he has plenty of experience at the club level. He's played at the Ligue 1 with PSG. He's played in the Premier League. Now he played in the Serie A. He won the World Cup with Argentina. And his contract with Roma, with AS Roma, ends next year, 2025. And there's talks about Roma might want to sell him this summer, because it's not looking like he's going to renew. And as we know, when players don't renew, clubs, you look to sell them their last year, because otherwise they risk them leaving as a free agent. So it seems that Leandro Paredes has offered himself to Barcelona through his representatives. Of course, Barcelona, they're not really considering him as a top priority. He's not amongst the top players that Barcelona are considering. But just know that Leandro Paredes has offered his services to the club. Now, I like Leandro Paredes. I think he's a good player. I like him with Argentina. I didn't really watch him much with AS Roma this past season because I don't really watch the Serie A. But the same problem with Kimmich I see with Leandro Paredes. Now, don't get me wrong, Joshua Kimmich I think is a much better player than Leandro Paredes. But I think to bring a player who is 30 years old, who's already been through all over Europe, who's already won pretty significant trophies, to me doesn't make sense, because these are not the kind of players that are going to come here and kind of give it their 200% because they're hungry. They're not. They're already towards the end of their career. They're looking for one last big contract. They're not really, that hungry for the success. And given the limited resources of the club, I prefer Barcelona spend it on someone who's younger, someone who's more hungry, someone who wants to come to Barcelona, make a difference, win trophies, be important, versus someone who's just looking to end their career with one last big club. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's usually my sensation when it comes to players who are in their 30s and they offer themselves to Barcelona. Plus, not to mention that amortization of a player who is in his 30s, it becomes impossible. You bring a young player, he's with you several seasons, you can easily amortize him. And if it doesn't work out, you can sell him for the same price or maybe for a profit. But a 30-year-old, you're going to buy him. Their value is already going down. So when you buy him, it's going to be the highest value it's ever going to be. From there, it's just going to keep getting lower and lower. It's a depreciating asset. So you're not going to be able to amortize that player. You're going to end up losing money. So to me, it just doesn't make sense. I prefer that Barcelona would spend it on a younger player, but that's just my opinion. The news is that Leandro Paredes has offered himself to Barcelona, and he is not a priority for the club. So I know a lot of times I say, hey, this player offered himself, and people freak out. Oh, my God, I can't believe Barcelona are considering this guy. What the hell are they thinking? And it's like, no, they're not considering him. He offered himself. Anybody could offer themselves to Barcelona. Doesn't mean that Barcelona are considering or will sign. Anyways, let's get back to the comment section, and then we will talk about Jaden Philogene, since I see a lot of people here in the comment section talking about Philogene. Palana says, I wish we can sign Philogene as backup for Nico and a very good DM. Speaking of Philogene, there we go. Another person mentioned it. Don't worry, my friend. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. Rajru says, Mo, good evening. Checking in from Tobago. Did you hear we cannot return to the 1-1 rule? No, I have not heard that. We are on course to return to the 1-1 rule. We just got to finish ratifying the Barca Vision deal and finish closing off the Nike deal. One or the other, and definitely with both. Sean says, hey, Mo, I don't think Barca should be looking to sell Ansu yet, especially since Rafinha might be sold and Nico Williams signing is not certain due to financial constraints. I'm not in favor of selling Ansu either. Again, I've said it many times. I believe he will recover from his injuries. He's a very talented player. We've all seen what he could do or what he's capable of before his injuries. The only thing that's standing in his way is his injuries, which, again, I think he's going to recover. But unfortunately, that's what Barcelona have made up their mind. They want to offload Ansu Fati. Not much we could do. As far as Rafinha, I see it very, very difficult that he's going to leave. He's insisting that he wants to stay. So I don't think he's going to leave. But who knows? Maybe some interesting club comes around and offers money. But I see it very, very difficult. The thing is, another reason why I don't see Rafinha leaving is that Rafinha wants to go to the Premier League. He would only leave to the Premier League. And he wants a club that could compete in the Champions League. The problem with that, none of those clubs want him. The only clubs who are interested in Rafinha are either Saudi clubs or clubs who are more towards the bottom mid-table. Any of the top clubs in the Premier League are not interested in Rafinha for a reason, because he's not that level. So since he wants to stay in Barcelona and only leave to a top club in the Premier League, and none of the top clubs in the Premier League want him, I just see it very, very, very difficult that he's gonna go. All right, let's see. Hamani says, hi Mo, if Araujo is to leave, what are your thoughts on German center back Nico Schlotterbeck? I think that's how you say that. He's left-footed and a good passer. I think if Araujo leaves, I don't think we would need a replacement, because we would have still Pau Cubarsí and Andreas Christensen who can start. We can still have Araujo, Koundé, who plays in that position. Mika Faye would probably be more likely to stay. He could perhaps earn a spot on the first team. If Barcelona signed Mamadou Mbake, he perhaps could come up and down between Barca Athletic and first team. Eddie Garcia would probably going to want to stay, but it's not likely. But I just don't think we would necessarily need to spend on another center back if Araujo leaves, given how many center backs we have. All right, Ross says, no, if there was one Barca player you would want to interview, talk to your podcast, who would it be, past or present? Wow, past or present. See, that becomes very difficult, past or present, because we're talking about hundreds of players. But if I had to interview one Barcelona player from the past, the most clear and obvious option would be Messi, right? He's the greatest ever. I would love, love, love to talk to Messi. Another past player that would be cool to interview, I think, would be Puyol. I think Puyol would be a great player to talk to, period. He's so down to earth, humble. He's such a big figure in Barcelona, the eternal captain. And as far as present, let me think who I would want to interview in the present. I think it'd be cool to interview Gavi. Just to see what he's like. He's so passionate when he plays, and plays with so much intensity and determination and sacrifice. So it'd be really cool to talk to him and just see how he views the game, how he views the team. I think it'll be cool. And Dream MV says Pedri. Yeah, Pedri would be cool too. Maybe the two of them together, because they're always together and they're always joking around, and they're, from the very few clips I've seen, they look like very funny together. So that'd be cool. Anyways, let's go back to the news, and then we will do more comments. But let's do the last bit of news, because we do have to talk about Jaden Philogene, the 22-year-old, the left winger who's currently at Hull City. Someone who came up through Aston Villa, was showing a lot of promise. Unfortunately, he debuted a little bit too early. It didn't work out for him. He ended up spending several seasons on loan with different clubs. Eventually, he was sold to Hull City, and last season, he absolutely shined. Shined? Shone? Shined. I think it's shined. I don't know. Anyways, he had a great season with Hull City, and as a result, he attracted the attention of many European clubs. One of them is Barcelona, who are interested in signing Philogene as either a low-cost option to Nico Williams, if in case Barcelona cannot bring Nico Williams. But even if Barcelona can sign Nico Williams, they still want to sign Philogene to be the substitute of Lamine and of Nico Williams, so someone who could alternate and rotate with both our wingers. Now, Barcelona have already made the first offer to Hull City for Philogene. The offer is a one-season loan with an option to buy, and that option to buy will be automatically triggered based on minutes played. So if Philogene comes to Barca, absolutely kills it, meets certain objectives, the option to buy will be triggered. Barcelona would keep him. If not, he would go back to Hull City. Now, this has been officially confirmed by Hull City's owner. So this is not rumors. This is not speculation. This is not just the media trying to sell papers. This has been officially confirmed by Hull City's owner, who has confirmed Barcelona's interest in the player. I'll make this bigger. I'll remove my logo. But this is what Hull City's owner had to say. Yes, it's all true when he was asked, that Barcelona are interested in him. But I told my fans that I would not sell anyone. My idea in football is not to make money. My idea is to make a stronger and bigger club. But sometimes to make a bigger club, if a player says, I want to leave, it's a different case. A player change is not the end of the world. But I would not like to slow down careers or make moves for my players because of a contract. So in that case, if Jaden wants to move and says he wants to go somewhere, this is something we can't do too much about. So Hull City's owner pretty much, excuse me, Hull City's owner confirming that Barcelona are indeed interested in him, amongst other clubs. And then he goes on to say something interesting where he says that his idea of football is not about making money. So it's somewhat saying that, he's not looking to sell, which would be concerning because except he later follows it up by, but if the player wants to leave, then he can leave. Kind of like Pep Guardiola's attitude towards his players. If they want to stay, then great. If not, they can leave. I cannot force them to stay. So Hull City's owner confirming Barcelona's interest in Jaden. Of course, Barcelona are not the only club. There are other clubs in the Premier League who are also interested. Amongst them are West Ham and Everton. So we're going to have to see which one of these clubs attracts the interest more of Jaden Philogene. Of course, as some of you have mentioned in the comment section, there is talks that Jaden Philogene would prefer to stay in the Premier League. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this operation is over, that he's not coming to Barcelona, because if you look at the clubs in the Premier League who are looking to sign him, like West Ham, like Everton, versus Barcelona, I think we still have a chance, right? If we were talking about maybe Manchester City, maybe Arsenal, then I'll be like, okay, we got big clubs want him. He prefers to stay in the Premier League. He's gonna want to stay with those big clubs in the Premier League. But when we're talking about West Ham, Everton, with all due respect to those clubs, versus Barcelona, even if you prefer to stay in the Premier League, I think as a player myself, I would rather go to Barcelona, even if I prefer to stay in England. I don't know. That's my opinion. We'll have to wait and see what the player comes back with. Just know that Barcelona's interest is real. It was confirmed by Hull City's owner, and that offer is still on the table, which is a one-season loan with an option to buy that would be triggered by the player meeting certain objectives or certain metrics. All right, let's get back to the comment section and see what you guys are saying. Where did we leave off? Not the Gamer says, was Gmo. Funny, I just saw an article before the podcast that said Barca want Paredes. Why? They don't. They don't want Paredes. Simply, they were offered the chance of signing him. He's not amongst the top players, but no. Nishika says, sure, Greenwood talent will really help our team. He's more direct, and that's what we need. Players who are straightforward and direct. Barcelona considered Greenwood for a short while. Getafe / Manchester United, because they kind of share rights of the player, wanted 30 million, and Barcelona said no thanks, because Barcelona were only considering Greenwood as a low-cost option, right? Not as a main signing. So they weren't looking to spend 30 million euros on the low-cost option. That makes it a not low-cost option. All right, let's see. What else? RB says, if he underperformed in Barca, he can move to mid-table clubs in England. But if he did so in mid-table clubs in England, he'll end up nowhere. Good point, good point. SA says, Mo, Philogene got to take the chance. Come on, we are in love. Say enough. I mean, it'll depend on the player. You know, if he comes, great. If he doesn't, I don't think we're missing out on much. I shouldn't say on much, because he is a promising player. But we wouldn't be, you know, it's not like missing out on Haaland or something. You know, if he wants to come, great. If not, that's okay. There'll be other players out there that Barcelona could sign. And Go says, Nike deal seems to be dragging. Look, it's a multi-million dollar deal. We're talking about 120 million per season for the next at least 10 years. That's a 1.2 billion euro contract. That's without even taking into account the 100 to 150 million euro signing bonus, plus all the bonuses that Barcelona could end up making if they achieve certain accomplishments and during the seasons. So we're talking about billions of dollars here. It's not dragging, trust me. These contracts usually take months, sometimes years to be negotiated. The fact that Barcelona are doing it in a couple of months or a few weeks, that's actually record time. These contracts, you know, take it from a lawyer. These contracts get negotiated 9, 12, 15 months, not 2 months. So it's not dragging at all. All right, let's see. Tishan says, hi, Mo. I watched Philogene's highlight, and he's exceptional. I think he should be a top priority for Barca. From Monrovia, Liberia, the country with the most Barcelona fans. He's a talented player, don't get me wrong, and he's a promising player, but he's not the top priority. Top priority is Nico Williams. That's the number one priority for Barcelona. Let's see. Falana says, we need every player at their best form to compete with Madrid. I mean, we need every player at the best form, period. Not just to compete with Madrid, but just to compete, period. Let's see. And SA says, Mo, is Ansu staying or not? I'm sorry, Jacob. Barcelona are not counting on Ansu. They want to offload him. Now, whether they can or not, that's another question. But Barcelona don't want Ansu to stay. And he says, Mo, any update on Frankie and Gabi injury? Frankie will be fine by the preseason. At least we hope so. Hopefully nothing gets complicated. Hopefully he doesn't decide to start playing, what's it called? What's that game we used to play when kids? Where they throw the rock, tic-tac-toe? Anyways, on that foot that he injured. Hopefully he doesn't start hopping on that foot. And as far as Gabi, not until they're saying he'll probably be cleared to start training in November. So don't expect Gabi to be playing official game matches until probably January of next year, or maybe end of December. But Gabi still has a long time to go. Barcelona, I don't want to rush him. You know, they want to take their time with him, and that's what they should do. He's still young. He has a long career ahead of him. The last thing we want to do is rush him back and ruin his career forever. Andrew says, Benny, we should try and sign Nico Williams to match Madrid. That's the plan. The plan is to sign Nico Williams. Of course, Barcelona need to come up with the 58 million euros, which is the release clause of the Athletic Club de Bilbao's winger. Anyways, that is all, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. No more videos today. That was the only news coming out of Barca today. Yesterday was so crazy, so much news. I had to do 3 videos. Today, just 1 podcast. That's how Barca is, like this. Just keeps us, you know, on our toes. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, for your likes, for your subscriptions, for your comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.